wait for the announcements to be made by the admin and the Student Central Organization because there will be days na walang pasok next week because it is founding anniversary. But not hindi naman porket na founding anniversary eh hindi na kayo a-attend ng classes. Okay? So your attendance will be checked, especially on Flare, just to make sure that you participate in the activities. Okay? Ayun lang. So, also, I'd like to apologize na sa mga nag-message. I wasn't able to respond ASAP because earlier this week I had my exams no in grad school. Yesterday, yeah, doon ako nag-exam. So, pasensya na. Don't worry, I'll go back to your questions in the following days na. Okay? So anyway, let's talk about solutions. So, this chapter is quite long in a sense na ang daming gagawin. But basically, you already have an idea about what a solution is. No? Especially if you took your Gen Chem, alam na alam nyo na to. Okay? So, anyway, for those who did not take chem courses in senior high school, probably those who are not from STEM strand, don't worry, madali lang to. Okay? So, in our session today, we will try to cover at least two of the four subtopics, the types of solution and the concentration units. Okay? So, hindi tayo magmamadali because this is very important. Okay, so now let's talk about the types of solution. First, before we proceed, no, let us define solution. Okay, pag sinabi natin solution, sabi ng lesson natin last year, a solution is a homogeneous mixture. Diba? Do you remember the flow chart? Diba, your matter can either be homogeneous or hetero. Homogeneous or hetero. If that is homo, that is solution. And if that is hetero, iba-iba na yung tawag dyan. Okay? So basically, if you have a mixture of two or more substances and they appear to be homogeneous, meaning one phase, we call it a solution. And solutions usually come in two parts, okay? Or two components. That is the solute and the solvent. When we say solute, this is the component of your solution which is present in smaller quantity. And the solvent, on the other hand, is the one that's present in larger quantity. Okay? So, kung sino yung onte, siya yung solute. Kung sino yung marami, siya yung solvent. Okay? Commonly in chemistry, the solvent that is used is H2O. Okay? H2O is often referred to as the universal solvent. Universal solvent. Bakit? Because of its abundance in nature, maraming compounds that can dissolve in H2O. Okay? So that's why we say water is the universal solvent. In chemistry, pag hindi sinabi solvent, automatically that's water. Okay? So, yan. So, yun yung ating components ng solution. Solute and solvent. Okay? So, I want your help. Na, bakit? Because I will give you some types of solution. You tell me the solute and the solvent. Okay? So, kunwari, meron akong iced tea. Ano sa tingin nyo yung solute? Ano sa tingin nyo yung solvent? Okay? Ito yung iced tea ko na kulay red. Red tea. Okay, ayan. Ano kaya ang solute sa iced tea? Ano yung solvent sa iced tea? Anyone? You can send your answers in the chat box. Let's see. Ano kaya yung solute sa iced tea? Ano yung solvent sa iced tea? Ano yung onte? Ano yung marami? Okay. Okay. Solute, powder, solvent, water. Tama. Okay. So, tama yan. Okay. That in an iced tea, okay, kunwari bumili ka sa Chowking, ewan ko, natutuwa ako sa lasa ng iced tea nila doon. Lasang sabon. Anyway, yung solute nila doon is, of course, the iced tea powder. Okay? Minsan may asukal pa yan, no? So, pwede po yung maraming solute. Okay? Allowed yan. Maraming solute. Basta onti sila. Okay? And then yung solvent natin, of course, this is water. Okay? Siyempre, kapag hindi yan water, di mo yan maiinom. Okay? So, iced tea, the solute is iced tea powder. In the iced tea powder, you have many chemicals in there, such as sugar, sweeteners, colorants, no? And then for the solvent, that is just plain water. Okay? Paano po yung ice? Solvent na rin yan. Kasi water din naman yung ice. Tapos pag natunaw siya, may halo lang siya sa water. Okay? Tamis naman, sir. O yun nga yung masarap sa ano eh, choking eh. Ang tamis-tamis ng ano. Tapos lasang sabon. Sarap. Anyway, ano pa kaya mga solution na nasa isip ko? Kunwari, ano na lang, salt water. What do you think? Yung mga possible solute in salt water. And ano yung solvent? Ano ba yung mga nakahalo sa tubig dagat? Amoy basahan. True. Sabi ni Mary, ni Franz, solute, salt. Solvent water. Tama naman. Okay. Tama naman yan. Solvent sa tubig dagat, edi water yun, no? Solvent is water. No? Yan, water pa rin. Pero when it comes to solute, no, the reason why the ocean is salty is you have many minerals there, no? Mga minerals. When I say minerals, yun yung mga calcium, sodium, okay, yung mga metals na nakahalo sa tubig. And then yung mga anions doon is usually chloride ion, etc. Okay? Yan. So, yun yung solute natin. Siguro mga minerals, mga ions, sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium, etc. Kung basta yung mga yan, minerals. And mga anions, yung mga chlorides, nitrates, ano pa kaya, phosphates, etc. Okay? Yung fish, pwede rin bang solute na, ano na yan, heterogeneous solution na yan. Yung ano lang, yung homogeneous part. Okay? So, ganun. Basically, a solution is a homogeneous mixture composed of two parts. No? The solute, which comes in smaller quantity, and the solvent, which comes in greater quantity. Okay? And kapag pinaghalo mo yan, you should make sure that it is homogeneous. Okay? Because if it is not homogeneous, then iba yung tawag doon. It could either be a colloid, no? Or a suspension, or just plain heterogeneous mixture. Okay? So, yan. Clear ba tayo doon? Kung may question, paki-chat lang sa chat box natin. Okay? So, yan lang. So, yun yung kailangan nyo kabisaduhin for now. Okay? Next. So, there are many types of solution na around us. And example niyan is the air, no? Air is a solution. Bakit siya naging solution? Solution siya of gas phase. Solution in gas phase, no? Naging solution siya, why? Because let's say walang dust particle, which is apparently colloid, no? Kunwari, clear yung air natin, walang dust. Solution yan kasi you will not see Tyndall effect, you will not observe Brownian motion. Okay? Kasi yung ating gases, they are completely mixed. Okay? Ano ba yung nasa air? It's nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, yung niluto na adobo, hininga nyo, di ba? Mga pabangos, etc. So all of those things are mixed in the air and they appear to be homogeneous. No? Okay? Kapag walang mga dust particles. Okay? So that is an example of a solution in the gas phase. When it comes to solid naman, these are some examples, the brass and the solder. Even your amalgams, no? Amalgams. Ano yung mga amalgams? Yun yung mga dental filling, okay? dental filling, like lalagyan mo ng gold, yung mercury, and then yun yung ilalagay sa ngipin. Okay? Dati kasi, yung form ng pasta ay maglalagay ka ng amalgam na dental amalgam. Tignan niya. Okay? So ano nan siya? Mercury and gold. Kaya nga, kung naaalala niyo yung mga ano, yung mga documentary in GMA, yung mga nasa tawag doon, nasa cemetery, some of them extracts the ano, yung ngipin ng mga bangkay. Why? Because yung mga ngipin na yon, they contain gold. Okay? However, this is no longer the practice. Hindi na madalas ginagawa tong amalgam filling. Instead, we use something else, no? Lalo na kapag pinapastahan. Okay? Silver minsan. Okay? So, manood kayo mga documentary na yan. Ako, naalala ko, bata pa ako eh. May mga ganun ng docu si Cara David. Okay? So, very interesting. Okay? So, yan, that's a solid solution. Okay? So, you have mercury and then you have metals like gold, silver, na, and then, yan, making shiny yung ngipin mo. Okay? So, yan. But currently, we don't use that anymore. We use something else that polymerizes in the presence of UV. Kaya, di ba, ako pinastan ako 2 beses dati nung bata. Yan. Tatapatan nila ng UV, then fix na yung ano, yung iyong pasta. Okay? And, ayan, liquid solutions. So, basically, the most common thing around us is our solutions in liquid phase. Okay? Ito yung nasa dugo natin, nasa iced tea, nasa alcohol, nasa sabaw ng dinner natin mamaya. No? So, almost every solution around us ay yung liquid. Okay? So, dito tayo pinaka-familiar with the liquid solutions. Okay? In analytical chemistry, we also deal with what's familiar with around us. No? Basically, in Anachem, we always deal with liquid solution. Okay? So, yun. So, puro liquid solution yung dinideal natin sa Anachem. Okay? So, yun. So, again, saan uli gawa yung solution? Sa solute and sa solvent. Solute yung onte, solvent yung marami. Okay? And then, there are many types of solution. It could be in the gas phase, pwede rin naman solid phase, but most importantly, most of the solution around us are in the liquid phase. Na? Yeah. So now, let's talk about this thing. Let us try to characterize our solution depending on how well they dissolve the solute. Okay? So alamin natin, ano yung mga tawag sa solution depending on how much solute they can dissolve. Okay? So, may iba-iba tayong terms dito that you just need to remember, such as the saturated solution, the unsaturated solution, and the supersaturated solution. Okay? Now, let me just give you the definition, and then later on, we'll use some relevant examples, okay, as our illustration. So, basically kasi, depending on the amount of your solute, no, your solvent may or may not dissolve them. Okay? Have you tried adding too much salt in water? Na-try nyo ba yun? Wherein hindi na natutunaw yung salt, di ba? Kasi when I prepare yung salt water pang gargle, ayan, dami ko nilalagay na asin. But regardless on how much I stir the solution, the salt doesn't dissolve anymore. May tawag tayo doon. Okay? So, ano yung mga tawag sa mga ganun na? Okay? So, if your solution contains the maximum amount of solute that it can dissolve, we call it the saturated solution. Okay? So, the key word here is that it is the maximum amount of solute dissolved in the solution. Kapag unsaturated naman, less than the maximum amount. While kapag supersaturated, more than the maximum amount. Okay? So, bigyan ko kayo example. Let's say iced tea. Okay? Buko juice na lang. Okay? When preparing a buko juice, so some people prefer it to be sugar-free, like me. Ayoko ng buko juice na may asukal. Pero some people loves buko juice with sugar. Okay? So suppose doon tayo sa second type of person. Okay? We are the people who loves sugar in our buko juice. Okay? So ganito lang yung idea ng saturated, unsaturated, and supersaturated. Kapag wala kang masyadong solute, let's say isang teaspoon lang ng sugar nilagay mo, do you think it will taste sweet? 'Di ba? Hindi. Kasi isang teaspoon lang 'yun eh. Let's say yung ating buko juice is 4 liters. Nagbebenta ka pala no? sa Tayuman sa FEU. Alam niyo yung Tayuman? Doon yung kainan eh. Okay. So, yan. Doon ako bumibili minsan. So, kapag matabang, okay sa akin. Okay. Suppose you have 4 liters of buko juice and ilalagay mo lang is 1 teaspoon of sugar. Do you think matamis siya? Of course, hindi, di ba? Ang tabang niyan. Okay? So, 1 teaspoon lang nilagay ko. However, let's say ilagay ko mga 10 teaspoon. Kunwari matamis na yan, may artificial sweetener, no? Magic sugar. Anyway, uso naman yun eh. Ayan. Kunwari, 10 teaspoon ng sugar na nilagay na niya. Matamis na yan, no? Okay, matamis na siya. And all the sugar crystals, all the sugar powder will be dissolved in the buko juice, no? However, if you add too much sugar, let's say 11 teaspoon, ang mangyayari is that may buo-buo na doon sa ilalim. Okay? So, just like yung sa gargle kanina na example ko. Regardless on how much you try to stir the solution, the sugar doesn't dissolve anymore. So, in our 3 examples, where do they fall into? Sino yung saturated? Sino yung unsaturated? Sino yung supersaturated? Okay? Basically, if your solution can dissolve more solute, ibig sabihin, that is the unsaturated solution. Ayun yung kanina na 1 teaspoon lang. Because you just added few amounts of solute eh. Your solvent is capable of dissolving more. Kaya pa niya tunawin yung asukal. So basically, that's unsaturated. Okay? Or in the context of taste, ito yung mga matatabang pa kasi kulang pa ng asukal. Hepalane, sir. And merong may kainan doon sa loob ng FEU mismo, yung Tayuman. Sa SB yun eh. Akala ko dati SB Starbucks yun pala. Science Building. So sa baba ng Science Building, bandang bookstore, andun yung Tayuman. Yun. Naalala ko to yung binibili ko parati doon. Mura lang eh. Ang sarap. Anyway, so yun. Malapit na mag face-to-face yung mga higher years. So sana kayo din sa August. So see you sa August. Anyway. So yun. So, pag matabang, it is unsaturated. Why? Because the solvent can dissolve more sugar. Kaya pa niya. So, ibig sabihin, unsaturated yun. You can keep on adding sugar, no? And all of them will dissolve. However, there will come a time wherein na-reach mo na yung maximum amount of sugar that can be added to your solution. That is called the saturated one. Saturated. Okay. And so saturated na siya. You added enough amount of solute that your solvent is capable of dissolving. Kumbaga, ito yung matamis na talaga, no? Matamis na. However, if you add 1 more teaspoon, that is the time where the solution becomes super saturated. So, kumbaga, in terms of taste perception, this is the time wherein yung super tamis na niya, and at the same time, you see crystals of sugar down the pitcher. Okay? Nasa ilalim lang siya ng pitcher. So, hindi na siya matutunaw kahit ano gawin mo. Okay? So, yun yung ating types of solution depending on the amount of the solute. Kapag onti lang, that's unsaturated. If tama lang, that's saturated. And then, kapag super dami na hindi na siya natutunaw, that is the supersaturated. And the thing with supersaturated solution is, this is the point wherein crystals may grow. No? If you have a supersaturated solution, then this is the point wherein you can grow your crystals. No? Okay? So, kung naalala nyo, yung mga tawas, okay? Tawas or alum in English, yan. So, alums are just crystals, no? So, crystal lang yan. And they are formed when a solution of alum and water is supersaturated, no? So, kapag supersaturated yan, it will start crystallizing, just as shown here in the picture, okay? So, this is a supersaturated solution. Mangyayari dyan is that over time, the crystals will grow eventually. And yun yung binibenta sa Quiapo. Mga tawas-tawas na malalaki. Ay, hindi lang yan yung mga binibenta. Alam niyo yan. Ay, hindi ko sasabihin kung alam. Okay? So, yan yung ating mga crystals. They are usually from supersaturated solution. And then over time, they will crystallize. And yun yung reason then why we have the stalagmite and the stalactite formations, no? Stalagmite and the stalactites, no? So, sila rin yung dahilan on why we have these things here, no? Kasi remember, nasa ilalim to ng mountain, right? And when it rains, the water will carry the minerals from the soil. Eventually, it will seep down the mountain, and then if there is a cave, what will happen is that yung mga water natin dyan, they will get deposited for a while on top. And then, since dumadami na yung mga calcium, minerals natin, eventually, magsosolidify sila, just like this. Okay? And they are glorious to see. Nakakita na ako nito, and wala lang. Ang sarap pindutin pero bawal. Pag pinindot mo yan, makukulong ka. Okay? Because this process takes hundreds of years, thousands of years. No? So, yan. So, sila yung mga product of supersaturated solution. Okay? Ayan. Icicles naman yan eh. Anyway, so yan. Yung mga minerals from the soil, as they go down, no, dito sa cave, yan, they will deposit as crystals. Okay? That will only happen if you have a supersaturated solution. Okay? So, yan. So, memorize nyo lang yung mga definition, ha? Okay. So, now, let's talk about this thing here, no? So, alam natin that solution is a homogeneous mixture. And we also know, based on experience, that not all liquids, when mixed, form solutions. Diba? For example, oil and water. If you mix them, what will happen? Wala, nothing. Diba? Pag kumukulo yan, tatalsikan ka lang yan. Diba? So, what do you think is the primary reason on why solutions fail to be produced? And bakit minsan successful naman yung making of solution? Okay? So the main answer to that is the interactions. More specifically, your intermolecular forces of attraction. Naalala nyo pa ba ang intermolecular forces of attraction? Okay? Could anyone give me the 3 types of intermolecular forces of attraction? Makasagot, magiging masaya sa February 14. So, ano yung 3 types of IMFA natin, if you could still recall? What are they? Okay. Dipole. Isa yan. Dipole, isa yan sa IMFA. London, meron pang isa, meron pa. And hydrogen bonding. Okay? Okay, ayan, gets nyo na yan. So basically, in preparing solutions, ako na to, sir. Wala na, nahuli ka na, wala ka ng wala nang date. Joke lang. Oh, malay nyo na may date kayo. Ilan yung magkaka-date ditong Pasko? So, si Jacob, ay sa Pasko tuloy. Valentine, si France, Jacob, Lance, si Carl, Angelo. Ayan, dami. Sana all. Okay. So anyway, so these are the primary reason why we can make solutions. Na ito yung dahilan bakit may solution, bakit wala. Okay? The intermolecular forces of attraction. Okay? Pag titignan natin yung solution process, okay? So solution process, it accounts for 3 types of interaction. The solvent-solvent interaction, the solute-solute interaction, and the solvent-solute interaction. But basically, the point lang here is that you should know what IMFA can your solvent and your solute perform. Ano ba kaya gawin ni solvent? Kaya niya ba hydrogen bonding? Kaya niya ba dipole-dipole? Or London lang siya? Same with the solute. What can you give us? Diba? Dipole ka ba? Hydrogen bond ka ba? London ka ba? Or ionic ka ba? Okay? And then if they are compatible in terms of the IMFA, then a solution will be made. Okay? For example, dipole to. Ito, dipole siya. Pag pinag-mix mo, dipole-dipole yung magiging interaction ng solute and solvent. No? However, in some cases, that will not happen. So let's say you have London lang. No? London dispersion forces lang. Let's say oil. To. And then water can perform H bond. No? Okay. Do you think they will mix? No. Alam nyo na yan. Okay, based on experience. Because they don't have the similar forces of attraction, meaning that they are incompatible. You cannot mix oil and water kasi hindi sila similar when it comes to the forces of attraction. Okay? So if you try it also sa sa salt, okay? Yung asin, lagay mo sa mantika. Try nyo mamaya. Tapos pagalitan kayo ng magulang nyo. Yan. So, try nyo mamaya. No? Lagay kayo ng salt sa oil. No? Siguro mga 1/2 tablespoon. O kaya kung may teaspoon kayo, ayun. 1 teaspoon ng salt into your oil. Kahit anong gawin mong halo doon, hindi sila matutunaw lahat. No? Okay? Why? Because oil can only perform ionic bonds. Ionic daw. Oil can only perform London dispersion forces. Okay? While yung salt, ionic yan. Okay? So, masyadong polar yung salt, no? Masyado siyang charged particle, and si oil, wala naman siyang ka-charge. So, there will be no interaction between the two, making them impossible to create a solution. Okay? So basically, in the process of making solution, you have to remember your forces of attraction. There are 3, no? If you consider ionic, sige, gawin mong 4. Okay? And if they are compatible, meaning you can make a solution. Otherwise, you cannot create a solution. Okay? So ito na nga yung mga example natin. Typically, if you have a nonpolar molecule, meaning that you can only perform London dispersion forces, so ito yung mga pwede lang matunaw in nonpolar solvents. Okay? So kung LDF siya, requirement na LDF din yung kabila. Because kapag yung isa ay polar, tapos yung isa LDF, hindi sila magmi-mix, hindi sila talo. Okay? So, one example is carbon tetrachloride in benzene. Okay? Naalala nyo pa ba yung benzene? Ayan, mga ganyan natin last sem. Yan, NH2, so on and so forth. Anyway. Okay? So, carbon tetrachloride and benzene is a good example of nonpolar molecule dissolving in nonpolar solvents. Okay? Oh, you might be thinking, sir, 'di ba Cl is highly electronegative. So, paano siya naging nonpolar? Ito, recall lang tayo ha. Just in case lang na nakalimutan niyo. Kasi kailangan alam niyo siya. So, for CCl4, even though the CCl bond is polar, that's true. Considering the geometry, the molecules have the ayan. Anyway, so yan. So even though the bond is polar, CCl bond is polar, okay? Tandaan niyo yan, polar yung bond na yan. But due to the geometry wherein all the bonds are sticking out at the same angle, 109.5, lahat yan 109.5. So nagka-cancel out yung forces. Okay? Making the molecule entirely non-polar. Okay? So yun yung reason. For polar molecules, they are soluble in polar solvent, of course. No? In our case, we have here ethanol in water. No? Yan. So ito yung dahilan bakit tayo may mga gin pom, mga vodka, sparkling, ayan. So ayan. Ethanol in water. Ethanol can perform anong type ng intermolecular force? Anong kaya gawin ni ethanol? Anyone? Ano kaya
Hydrogen
gawin?
bond po.
Ayun. Akala ko malasing eh. And so it can perform H bond. Okay? So it can perform H bond. And water, of course, can perform H bond. No? Kasi ano yan eh, dalawang OH lang yan eh. Magkabilaan. Remember? Okay? So yan. So pag H bond, maghahalo talaga yan. And this one, sabi ko kanina, ionic compounds are more soluble in polar solvents. Kaya nga sabi ko, mamaya bago kayo kumain, or siguro pag naguhugas kayo ng plates, you go to your kitchen, get 1 teaspoon of salt, put it in your oil, nothing will happen regardless on how well you stir them. Okay? So, yan. Ayan. So, yan. Ionic compounds are more soluble in polar solvents. Bakit kaya? Okay. What is the primary reason on why ionic compounds dissolve more in polar solvent? Ito yung sagot dyan. Okay. Naalala nyo ba yung ganito ng bata kayo? Ayan. Ako nung nursery ako, puro kami ganito eh. Ito yung dahilan bakit yung ionic compounds natutunaw sa polar solvent. Bigyan ko kayo ng clue. May H dyan. Okay. Ano kaya yung word na yan? Ano kaya yan?
Charge.
Palaban. Gusto magkaroon ng masayang Feb 14. Sige, hahanapan kita, friends.
Meron na ako, sir. Char.
Ay, meron. Oh, sana. Oh. Okay. So, yun yung dahilan, no? The charge. Bakit? Kasi 'di ba pag polar yung molecule, may partial charge yan. Remember, dipole nga eh. Dipole. Dalawa pole. Positive, negative. Right? And ionic compounds have charges. In their case, full yung charge nila. No? So, full positive, full negative. Si polar molecules naman, partial positive, partial negative. Even though mahina yung partial charges, it is still capable of performing electrostatic interactions. No? Okay? Kaya yung ating ionic compounds, they dissolve more in uh, polar compounds na because of that electrostatic interaction, aka Coulombic forces. Okay? Ngayon, sodium, it can interact with the oxygen, and Cl, it can interact with the hydrogen. Okay? Kasi ito, positive, palitan ko color ng aking ball pen. So, ito positive, ayan, positive, ito negative. Ito positive, ayun, negative na. Even though partial yung isa, still capable of performing interactions. So that's why ionic compounds are more soluble in polar solvents. Okay? So ang galing na. So in identifying whether you can create a solution or not, you still have to recall the intermolecular forces of attraction. Don't worry, hindi kayo lulubayan yan until biochem. Pag nag-biochem kayo, madadaanan nyo ulit si intermolecular force of attraction. Okay? So, yan. So, that is the solution process. Okay? There are many things that you have to consider, but in general, that is just the intermolecular forces of attraction. And ito yung ating mga allowable features for our substances to create a solution. Okay? So let us characterize further our solution, because there are solutions that can conduct electricity while others do not. Okay? Meron kapag pinaghalo mo, pwede kang makuryente. Meron naman, wala lang. Okay? So what makes a solution conductive and what makes a solution non-conductive or insulator? So it just has something to do with the electrolyte system. When we say electrolyte, basically these are just charged particles. No? So they are just charged particles. Yan yung ating mga electrolyte. No? So let's say ionic compound yan. Of course, automatic may electrolytes ka. Okay? So sa Gatorade, marami ring electrolytes yan. Sodium, potassium, all other things. Okay? So yan yung mga charged particles natin. Okay? They can make electrolyte solution. However, if you have a solution where you don't have any charged particles, we call it non-electrolyte solution, and they cannot conduct electricity. Share ko lang, because my friend is magaling siya mag-repair ng mga devices like cellphone, yung luma kong cellphone sa kanya ko pinaayos. Itong laptop sa kanya ko pina-upgrade, no. And natutuwa ako whenever he upgrades or fixes any laptops, no, because nililinis niya talaga, like binabrush niya with soapy water. Siguro nagtataka kayo, wala, tubig tapos computer, hindi ba siya masisira? Okay, so technically hindi naman masyado. Kasi in cleaning devices, they have this called deionized water. Okay, and in chemistry laboratory we also have that, no. Ito yung water deionizer namin. So this is how the water deionizer looks like in the laboratory. Okay, sa chemistry, diba, pumipila kami dati dyan. Okay, so in the water deionizer, it makes sure that your water doesn't have any ions, no, at all, no. So ibig sabihin, if yung cellphone mo mabasa ng deionized water, okay lang yan, gagana pa rin yan. However, if yan ay mahulog mo sa dagat, masisira yan. Okay? So yan, deionized water is an important equipment in the laboratory, because in making solutions, we make sure there are no interferences, no other ions other than the analyte. Okay? So yan. So yun yung ginagamit namin sa lab para yung aming water is non-electrolyte. Wala siyang kahalong other ions. Okay? And for the non-electrolyte, edi yun yung any compounds, no? Specifically, molecular compounds lang. Molecular compounds lang siya. An example ng molecular compounds, your sugar. Okay? So, sugar doesn't conduct electricity. Okay? So, what makes an electrolyte solution again? Kailangan you have a charged particle, no? And for a non-electrolyte solution, sila ay molecular lang. Okay? So, talking about electrolytes, there are two types of electrolyte systems, no? You have a strong electrolyte and a weak electrolyte. Kapag strong electrolyte, this is common for ionic compounds, no? Ionic compounds that dissolve completely, no? For example, sodium chloride, it will dissolve completely, okay? So, yan yung mga ionic compounds, strong electrolyte. If you have weak electrolyte, ito yung mga, let's say, organic acids, ayan. Ayan. So, weak electrolyte yung mga yan. Okay? So, those are just some few example. Tignan nyo to. This is vinegar. No? This is acetic acid. Okay? This is your acetic acid. It is considered weak electrolyte because it doesn't fully ionize. No? Kasi wala naman dyang metal. Wala namang non-metal. All of them are non-metals. Diba? So, yan. They will not fully dissociate. No? Okay? And the primary reason for them to dissociate is ano yun? Ano kaya yung call? Anyway. So the primary reason on why they dissociate is number one, resonance. No? So this part of the molecule causes resonance. Okay? Kaya natatanggal yung H. Anyway, hindi na natin gagawin yan sa org chem na yan. So, also, if you check, for strong electrolytes, the arrow is full. It is pointing to the right, no? Full yung arrow natin, pointing to the right. But if it is a weak electrolyte, may dalawang direction yung arrow. And this is called the equilibrium arrow. Okay, that's called the equilibrium arrow. It tells you that you have your forward and reverse reaction. And we will discover this in chapter 3. Okay, and we will talk about equilibrium in depth pagdating ng chapter 3. Okay tayo dyan. Okay. So, yun lang. Just remember lang, ano yung electrolytes, ano yung component ng electrolyte solution. Basically, that's charged particles. For non-electrolyte solution, that's commonly molecular compounds. When you say molecular compounds, those are compounds that do not dissociate, such as sugar. You know? And for electrolytes, they could either be strong or weak. For example, ionic compounds are usually strong, while organic acids are usually weak. Okay. So to give you an example, these are some strong electrolytes. Ito yung mga ating strong acids and bases. Don't worry, we will discuss this in chapter 4, laboratory. So, sa chapter 4 lab yan. For ionic compounds, ayan, yung mga sinabi ko, like sodium chloride, potassium chloride, etc. For weak acid, ito yung ating mga organic acids. Ayan, mga organic acids. This one, hydrogen fluoride, nitrous acid, ammonia. This is our organic base yan. And water, water also. But for water na pure, yun nga yung sinasabi ko na deionized water, it tends to be non-electrolyte. Okay, kapag deionized water. And then for non-electrolyte, as you can see, these are the compounds that do not dissociate. Basically, they are molecular compounds na. Okay? Pag sinabi molecular compounds, hindi sila nagdi-dissociate. Okay. So yan, that's methanol, or basically your alcohols, glucose, sucrose, and urea. Okay? So yun na. Kailangan nyo ba ito kabisaduhin? Hindi naman. Okay. So now, based on whatever you have learned in the laboratory, you already have an idea on how to make a solution, di ba? So ano ulit tawag dito sa apparatus na to? What is the name of this apparatus? Ano kaya name niyan?
Erlenmeyer plus Benzer.
Erlenmeyer. Letter V.
Volumetric po.
Ayun. So this is a volumetric flask. Now, basta mahaba yung leeg, volumetric yan. Okay? Ito mahaba leeg niya. Yan. Si Erlenmeyer naman, triangle yung shape niya. Yung kay Dexter Laboratory. Ito rounded siya. So in preparing your solution, we need to use a volumetric flask. Okay, so yan yung gagamitin natin. And how do we prepare solution in vol flask? Basically, you put your powder inside. May powder yan, itataktak mo sa loob. And then, once your powder is inside, you add water. But you only fill it halfway, hanggang kalahati lang. Why? Because kapag pinuno mo yan, there might be a chance you will not be able to mix everything well. Okay? Hindi mo siya mahalo lahat. Okay? Kaya ang gagawin mo, halfway lang muna. And then kapag kalahati na yan, you close it and then you shake it na like a barista. Yan yung favorite na ginagawa ko sa ChemLab Kasi kunwari, ito yung vol flask. Tapos kalahati na siya. Ginaganon-ganon ko pa yan dati. Ginaganon-ganon. And minsan ginaganon talaga namin. Just to make sure that everything is dissolved. No? It's fine naman as long as hindi siya mababasag. So, para kang nagbabarista. Kala mo nasa Starbucks ka. And then once everything is dissolved, you remove this cap again and then you fill it up to the lower meniscus. Once you are in the neck, okay, pag nasa neck ka na, this part is called the neck. Okay, so pag nasa neck ka na, you add water dropwise. Dropwise na yan. Kasi if you added a bit much water, kunwari lumagpas ka sa meniscus, ulit ka uli from the top. Okay? And preparing solution using vol flask takes a while, mga 10 minutes. Okay, mga ganun katagal. Kapag mabilis ka, di 5 minutes. Pero imagine na losing 5 minutes of your life is not worth it. Okay? So, yeah. So, that's how we prepare solutions. Okay? Ayan. So, basically, that's the first part of our lesson. It just has something to do with solutions. How we define solutions, what are the components of the solutions, how do we even make a solution based on the intermolecular forces of attraction, and how do we prepare solutions. Okay? So yung part ng discussion natin na yon ay just more on memorization. Okay? You should know the definition of saturated, supersaturated, unsaturated, electrolyte, non-electrolyte. Okay? So yun lang naman yung kailangan nyo kabisaduhin doon. Do you have any question or clarification with regards to our discussion kanina? Or wala naman? Okay? Kasi basically, yan na yan. Do not forget the most important thing. Ito, the IMFA. Ayan. And the electrolytes. Acid na naman ata ako. I don't have Gaviscon. Anyway. So, yan. Yan na yan. So, I guess since there are no questions, then we can proceed with the second part. 2 out of 4 natin. Okay? So, in this part, let's talk about the concentration units. Actually, you have an idea na kanina. Okay? May idea na kayo Because in this part of the topic kanina, we characterize the solution based on the amount of solute, okay, that is dissolved in our solvent. Okay. However, the only bad thing here is that it is qualitative, no? Qualitative siya, like wala tayong numbers na makuha dito. And since Anachem is a measurement science, then kailangan may numbers. So we should not only use qualitative description. Rather, we have to have a quantitative data. Okay? So, even though ito ay okay na rin siya in telling the concentration of the solution, it is not enough, no? Because analytical chemistry is a measurement science. Therefore, the amount of solute must be exact. Okay? It must be reported using certain units, okay? Such as the percent by mass, percent by volume, molarity, parts per million, parts per billion, normality, and P functions. Okay? So, ito yung mga gagawin natin. Okay? So, ayan. So, familiar na ba kayo dito? Kung nag-Gen Chem kayo sa senior high school, especially those who came from STEM background, alam nyo na to. Okay? Pero if you are not from STEM background, that's fine. Madali lang yan. Kaya yan sundan. Okay. So siguro for this session, we will just reach molarity. Hanggang dito na lang muna tayo. Okay. Because we have some examples later to work with. Okay. So yan. So let's proceed muna with the percent by mass. Okay. So the percent by mass is straightforward. It is just the mass of your solute divided by the mass of your solution in percentage unit. Okay? So whenever you have percentage unit, you multiply the ratio by 100. Okay? So ganun lang siya. Ratio lang siya. Nasa numerator, solute. Nasa baba, solution. Okay? Gets yan? Always nasa taas yung solute. Always nasa baba yung solution. Okay? Kahit anong concentration unit yan. Solute over solution yan. Okay? Another thing to keep in mind is that the mass of your solution is the sum of its component parts. No? Kung ano yung mass ng solution, equal yan sa mass ng components mo, such as the mass of the solute plus the mass of your solvent. So basically, yun yung mass ng solution. Okay? Kasi 'di ba saan gawa yung solution? Edi sa solute, sa solvent. Edi pagsamahin mo yung solute solvent, what you will get? Solution. In terms of their mass, ganun din. Okay? So, yan. So basically, we can expand the equation into percent by mass equal mass of solute all divided by mass solute plus mass ng solvent. Okay? So, times 100%. Okay? So, this is our working equation. Pwede rin naman yung nasa taas, but I would like you to remember this thing. The mass of the solution is the sum of the mass of the solute and the mass of the solvent. Okay? Ganun lang. Sige. Ano kaya ito? Research. Anyway, let's proceed. A solution was prepared by mixing 29 grams of sodium chloride with 300 grams water. Find the percent by mass of NaCl. So since we are asked about the percent by mass, the first thing na gagawin mo is to write the equation. Okay? So ano uli na sa numerator? Solute. Okay. That's the mass of your solute. Ano yung nasa denominator? Solution. Okay? Ganun parate. Solute sa ibabaw, solution sa baba. Okay? Times 100. And now, the question is, sino yung solute dyan? Is it NaCl or water? Okay? Sino yung solute natin?
NaCl po.
NaCl. Bakit sa NaCl? Kasi
Konti lang yung ano niya, sir. Amount.
konti lang yung amount niya. Okay? Si Patricia agreed din na NaCl yung ating solute. Okay? Kung sino yung pinakaonte, siya na yun. Merong nagtanong sa akin last time, Sir, paano po kapag 50-50? Okay, kapag 50-50, medyo ano naman yan, medyo rare na yun. Okay. Kaya sabi ko sa kanila, wag na lang mag-overthink. Kasi in chemistry naman, ang marami tubig, ang onte, yung mga solute natin. Okay? So, ganun lang. Anyway, so about research groups lang yun sa medtech. Okay, so our solute is NaCl and the solvent is water. So tama yan. This is solute, solvent. Now, what's the answer? Okay, ganito lang yan. Okay, percent by mass equals mass of solute. Obviously, that's 29 grams. Mass solution. Ano yung ilalagay ko? Ano yung number na ilalagay ko for mass ng solution? What do you think? Sabi ni Jacob, 329. Si Jenny din, 329. Why? Kasi kapag 300 nilagay mo, solvent lang yun. Always remember that when we say solution, it is the sum of the solute and the solvent. Okay? You add them, ha? Do not forget that. Kasi may mga students ako dati na nakakalimutan yan. Nung senior high. Okay? Yan. Okay lang kasi senior high sila eh. So yan. So basically solution is just the mass of the solute and the solvent. Okay? So 329 divided by 29 divided by 329 times 100%. Paunahan sa calcu. Ako matagal. Pipindot pa ako ng calcu. Ayan. So, fraction 29 nasa baba is 329. Then times 100. Should you write the percent? Igaganyan nyo ba yan 100%? No. Because the percentage serves as our unit. Okay? So, hindi siya yung literal na percent talaga. The percent symbol is our unit. Okay? So, 100 lang. Ayan. So, the answer is 8.81%. Okay? So, percent by mass. NaCl. Kasi yung tanong eh. Percent by mass of NaCl. So, it is 8.81 NaCl. Okay? Sa ating body, if that is yung, di ba tatlo yan? Isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic. Di ba? Kapag isotonic, ata 0.9% NaCl. Tama ba ako? Ganito pala. No? Sa Anachem, medyo hindi ko na pinapansin yung sig-fig talaga. I always want the answers to be in 2 decimal places. Okay na yun sa Anachem. Medyo hindi na tayo concerned with the sig-fig na. Kasi ito hindi siya hindi siya 1 sig-fig eh. This is ambiguous. It could be either 3 times 10 raised to 2, 3.0 times 10 raised to 2. Kaya yun sinasabi ko, kapag anachem, kahit di na tayo mag-sig fig, that's fine with me. Okay? I'm okay with 2 decimal places na. Sir, di ko pa makita yung hindi mo ipipindutin naman yung percent. Pero ito yung percent, nasa taas siya ng open parenthesis. Okay. Okay, so ganun lang ka-easy. Dali na. Try nyo to sagutan. Ano kaya? Ay, hindi. Mahirap tong worksheet na to eh. Saka na yan. Di-discuss natin yan sa susunod. Okay? Saka na yan. 8.81. Next one, percent by volume. Okay? So, let's talk about percent by volume. Basically, this is the ratio of the volume of solute and the solution. Kung mass kanina, ngayon volume. By the way, I forgot na. The units must be the same, no? Whether that's mass or volume. Kasi if you are dividing kilograms by gram, malaki yung factor nun, 1,000, right? So, kailangan same unit, no? If that is grams, dapat grams lahat. Okay? So, ganun din with the percent by volume. Solute over solution. Anyone who wants to try this problem? A certain alcoholic beverage is 10% ethanol in volume. How much ethanol are there in 728 ml of the alcoholic beverage? Okay, so our equation is percent V equals volume solute over volume solution times 100%. I will make a follow-up question here. Na follow-up ko will be how much solvent are there? So, gano'ng karami yung solvent and gano'ng karami yung ethanol? Okay? Now, could you try to work it out? No? Siguro bigyan ko kayo ng 5 minutes. No? Ayan. Tapos ako makiki-update muna ako sa kaganapan sa Facebook. Okay? Anyone who wants to answer? Kung kaya nyo picturean yung solution nyo, you can try doing that. Just send nyo sa chat box natin. And then let's see na kung tama siya. Mag-mute muna ako para makapag-focus kayo. So, siguro I will ask, may sagot na agad na. Mabilis si Lance. May sagot na si Lance. It's 72.8 ml ethanol. Okay, so let's wait for others. Aware naman kayo siguro sa mga issue lately, no? May mag-i-skip uli ng interview. Ayun lang yung sasabihin ko. Bar exam na pala, no? Ako may maglo-lawyer sa inyo. Who is this? Sino to? View profile. Okay, so ayan, may tatlo na tayong answers. Pare-parehas naman sila ng sagot. So, tignan natin kung yan ba talaga yung sagot. So, ganito lang yan. Percent, yung naka-percent, edi yun na yung percent V. Okay, so given na siya. So, ito na yung 10%, percent V. Solute, obvious naman, it's ethanol. Okay? Kasi usually sinasabi after, yun yung solute. Okay? So, ethanol. And then the solution is the alcoholic beverage itself. Saan ba gawa yung alcoholic beverage? Sa ethanol and water lang. Okay? So, now, let's solve for the solute muna. Okay? So, since this thing is being asked, ibig sabihin, we have to cross-multiply all the other things. No? Ito, it needs to be multiplied to the other side. Tama? And then, yung 100%, it needs to be multiplied here. So, kailangan marunong na kayo mag-transpose, ha? Ayan, college na naman kayo. So, kapag nasa denominator, if you transpose it on the other side, it becomes the numerator. While, if that is the numerator, if you transpose it to the other side, it becomes the denominator. Okay? So, doing that, that's V solute. V solute equals percent volume times the volume of the solution divided by 100%. And then, plug in everything. Percent V is 10%. Volume of the solution, ano kayang volume? Ayan, 728 ml. Okay? 728 ml divided by 100%. And just as I said to you earlier, the percentage serves as our unit lang. Okay? So it's not literally the percent. No? Para lang siyang unit that we can cancel out. And with that, the answer is 72.8 ml. Okay? That's the volume of ethanol. Now, to answer the next question, how much solvent are there? Basically, you just go back to the volume of the solution, okay? So remember, the volume of the solution is the volume of the solute plus the volume of the solvent. We are looking for the solvent, meaning yung solute, we have to transpose it to the other side. Since addition yan, okay, so hindi siya multiplication, so addition lang siya, you subtract both sides so that itong solute mapupunta sa kabilang side. Okay, so do not forget your basic algebra. Kasi dadami pa yung math natin lalo. So, yan. So, basically, that's V solvent equals V solution minus V solute. 728 ml minus 72.8 ml. The answer is letter C. 728. Oops, ano nangyayari? Balik tayo. 728 minus 72.8. 655.2. Okay, so easy lang na. 655.2. Ganun lang ka-easy. Okay, so we're done. First two. Percent by mass, percent by volume. Laging tandaan, nasa numerator is solute, nasa denominator is solvent. Ganun lang. Next one. The next equation is molarity. Okay, so for molarity, basically it is solute over solution pa rin. But this time, when we say solute, we are actually referring to the moles of the solute. And kapag sinabi solution, it is still the volume of the solution but in liter unit. Okay? It is in liters. So again, same format pa rin. Numerator, solute, denominator, solution. However, instead of the mass or the volume for the solute, we want the moles of our solute. And for the volume, it must be fixed to 1 liter. And molarity is the common unit in analytical chemistry. Ito yung gamit na gamit sa buong world ng chemistry. Okay, so it is molarity. Okay, we can signify molarity in 3 ways. Pwede siyang unit of mole per liter. So ito yung mga units natin. Pwedeng mole per liter, given na mole yung nasa taas, liter yung nasa baba na volume. Sometimes we also use capital letter M to signify molarity. And then sometimes we just write the word molar. Okay? So molarity, pwede siyang mole per liter, capital M, or just mention the word molar. Okay? So, since we need to use the mole, how do you find the mole of a substance ulit? How do you get the mole of the substance? Anyone? Naalala nyo pa ba? Paano mag-solve ng mole? Yun, mass over molar mass. Buti mas mabilis yung responses nyo na sa other class ko, hindi sila mabilis mag-respond. Anyway, so yan. When I say mole again, so mole, that is mass over molar mass. Okay, molar mass. We can plug it into our equation to make everything unified. Okay? Kasi baka isipin nyo, ay, kailangan ko muna isolve yung mole, tapos saka ko na isolve yung molarity. Pwede naman pagsama-samahin na. Okay? So we can plug in the equation for mole, and that will become molarity equal the mass solute over the molar mass solute times the volume of the solution in liters. Okay? Yung solution, ganito ko siya sino-shortcut ha. Sol. If you check the AOAC, ganyan din yung shortcut kasi. So, nakasanayan na namin. Also, I always indicate this thing here, liter, kasi yun sabi ng definition. Okay? Kasi if you just write letter V, baka makalimutan nyo i-convert into liters. So, since this is the most important unit in chemistry, i-digest nyo na. Okay? So, molarity is mass over molar mass times volume in liters. Let's try one problem here. Okay? Let me rewrite the equation. Molarity equal mass solute molar mass solute volume of the solution in liters. Basahin ang problem. Nakakatamad magbasa. Anyway, sabi dito, calculate the molar concentration of ethanol in an aqueous solution that contains 2.30 grams of ethanol. The molar mass is 46.07 grams per mole in 350 liter solution. Okay? Given na yung mass, molar mass, volume, hanapin ang molar concentration or the molarity. Kaya nyo na? Kaya yan, no? Pero ako muna. Mass ng solute is obviously 2.30 grams. Okay, for the molar mass of solute, it is already given. Okay, so 46.07 grams per mole. Ayan. And then for the volume of the solution, it's 3.5 liters. It is already in liters, so yun na yan. Okay? Ganun lang ka-easy, di ba? Ang dali lang na. Tapos pagdating sa exam, hello. And mambulaga kayo. So, 46.07 times 3.5. This is the answer. It is 0.1426 something. Kapag molarity, commonly in chemistry, we report it to 4 decimal places. Okay? Kapag molarity, 4 decimal places. Kapag mass, pwedeng 2, pwedeng 4 decimal places. Okay? So, ganun yung common practice kapag nasa laboratory ka. Pag mass, 2 decimal or 4. Pag molarity, commonly 4 talaga siya. Okay? So, our molarity is 0.0143. Wow. 143. What I think is the unit? Obviously, it's grams. Mole per liter. Okay? And so, 0.143 mole per liter. Madali lang ba? Madali lang, no? So, tingin nyo ba kaya nyo na mag-solve ng molarity? Kasi kayo naman. Ngayon pa lang, sir. Okay. So, kaya na. Don't worry. Marami naman tayong examples. Kayo naman. Kayo naman mag-solve. May notes naman kayo, di ba? Ayan. Yung susunod, mas malala. Sorry. Susunod, mas malala na. Pero i-discuss ko to, don't worry. Okay. Kapag Anachem, gusto ko i-explain lahat ng calculation eh. Eto. Kung kaya niya, sige. Ayan. Worksheet number 1. Ito yung gamit ko last year sa MedTech. Kaya kung nakita nyo sa 1FEU, puro MedTech yung nagsasabi. Sir Jim, hindi nila alam, sa bio na ako. Anyway. So, ayan. Basahin natin. Typical seawater contains 2.7 grams of salt per 100 ml. What is the molarity of NaCl in the ocean? Given na yung mass ng salt, ito yon, NaCl. Given na yung volume, 100 ml, hanapin ang molarity. So, meron bang willing? Meron bang willing magsagot? At may tumatawag sa akin sa MS Teams. Meron bang willing mag-answer? Kailangan check ko lang baka may nag-chat. Wala. Wala naman. May tumatawag sa Teams eh. Si Lance, may sagot agad. Huwag kayong magpatalo. Ang makakasagot dito. Ano kaya? Meron na yung Valentine's eh. Dalawa yung magiging Valentine's Day na. Dalawa na. Kanina isa lang ngayon eh. Dalawa yun. Okay. Ano yung sagot natin dito? Just type your answers and then let's check kung tama ang inyong sagot. Okay? So I'll wait. Ulitin ko na lang siguro yung flare. Flare topic. So, sana pumasok kayo dun sa flare discussion. About siya sa adulting. Ulitin ko na lang. Wala na akong maisip na ito topic. Kumusta yung iba? Baka mamaya kumakain na kayo Okay lang naman kung nagugutom kumain. Ako mamaya pa. Hindi ko alam kung may ulam. Okay, last call natin for the answer 1 minute. Pag 57, then sasagutan ko na. Papakita ko kung paano isosolve. Last minute. May tweet dito. And hindi ko na lang sasabihin. Okay, so it's 57. So, tignan natin ang sagot na. Yun, mag-ingat tayo sa volume. Pero hindi ko rin alam kung ano sagot eh. Susulat ko pa. Okay. Yung molar mass ng sodium chloride, i-google nyo na lang. Sodium chloride. Ayan, molar mass. 58.44. Okay, 58.44. Okay, so the mass is this one. This is the mass, NaCl. The molar mass is 50. Ano yun? Kalimutan. Kalimutan agad. Sodium chloride molar mass. 58.44. Okay. 58.44 gram per ml. And this is the volume of the solution in ml. Now, you have to convert it into liters pa. Okay, so molarity. What's the equation? M equals M solute. In our case, the solute is NaCl. Okay. So mass NaCl divided by the molar mass of NaCl times the volume of the solution in liters. Okay, so in liters. Okay, and then plug in 2.7 grams. 2.7 grams. Molar mass NaCl, that's 58.44. 58.44 grams per mole. Ayan. Then, multiply it by the volume. 100 ml. Pero, it should be in liters. So, you have to convert it pa. Okay? Kasi pag di nyo kinonvert, mauurong yung decimal place ng answer mo. Okay? So, let's convert ml to liters. Nasa ibabaw yung liters, nasa baba yung ml. Bakit nasa baba yung ml? Kasi para mag-cancel out ang units. Ayan, cancel. Okay? Then 1 liter equals 1,000. Okay, so hindi lang naman yung magka-cancel, no? Even the grams will cancel out as well. Yan. Pag nag-prob set kayo, show nyo yung cancellation, ha? Anyway, since I think marami pa rin na hindi pa daw dumadating yung textbook, nakikita ko yung mga sentiments nyo sa 1FEU. Siguro, habaan namin yung deadline ng problem sets. Wala pa naman for chapter 2. Kasi yung chapter 2 ay matagal-tagal pa to bago matapos. Okay? So, 2.7 Sa numerator, sa baba, you have 58.44 times 100 ml times fraction 1 over 1,000. Okay? So this is how you should type it in your calcu. 2.7 5844 open parenthesis 100 times 1 over 1,000. Pindutin ang equal sign. The answer is yan. Convert mo siya into decimal by pressing this. 0.4620. Okay. 0.4620. Ilan yung tumama? Okay. So, si Lance and si Patricia, nagbago ng isip. Si Jacob, ayan. So, 4,620. Ano yung common mistake sa molarity? One of the common mistake in the molarity is yung volume. Doon talaga nagkakatalo. Ako dati nagkakamali din ako dyan eh. Okay. Although ginagawa ko, before I submit my exam, double check talaga. Okay. So yan. So the answer is 0.4620. Okay. Na-realize na ba na ito yung answer? 0.4620 mole per liter. Okay. Gets. Next question. Sige, kung gusto niyo mag-screenshot, go. Pero i-upload ko to sa Canvas. Aayusin ko lang talaga, no. Pasensya na kung super delay na yung mga sinasabi ko. Nag-exam kasi ako kahapon. Tapos, nakakaiyak siya. Ayun lang, share ko lang, nakakaiyak siya. Pinakita ko ngayon sa students ko kanina sa lab. Kasi sa lab namin, na kami, Excel ng statistics. Tinuruan ko sila. Ayun lang, share ko lang. Next one. Number 2. By the way, mga question like this, no, saka na lang to. Okay, saka na yan. Itong molality, hindi natin i-discuss yung molality. Kasi hindi naman ginagamit sa Anachem yan eh. Okay? Molarity lang talaga. Siguro kung may time pa, pwede natin i-cover yung number 3 kung paano siya gagawin. Okay? Anyway, so let's try number 2. Magnesium chloride has a concentration of 0.054 molar in the ocean. How many grams of magnesium chloride are present in 25 ml of sea water? For your reference, molar mass, magnesium chloride is 95 to 11. Okay? So it is 95.211 grams per mole. Anyone who wants to try number 2? Ito medyo maraming gagawin. Tapos tuturuan ko kayo ng shortcut. Tuturo ko na sa inyo yung ship solve dito sa problem na to. So but for now, mag-derive muna kayo. Okay, so again, the equation for molarity is mass magnesium chloride. Ito yung hinahanap. Molar mass magnesium chloride times the volume of the solution, which is the seawater, in liters. Okay, do not forget the liters. Okay. Yan. Bilis ah. Sige, solve muna kayo. Maghahanap ako ng mga balita sa Facebook. May nagpapa-quiz na pala. Bawal pa yun. Okay, may dalawa na nakasagot. Madali lang kasi siya. Sa transpose lang, right? Okay. So, just transpose everything here in the denominator to the other side. So basically, is the mass of magnesium chloride equal to the molarity times the molar mass of magnesium chloride times the volume of the solution, but in liters. Okay, do not forget liters. Molarity is 0.054 mole per liter. Molar mass. Okay, so that's 95.211. Okay, 95.211. And the volume of the solution in liters, so that's 25 ml. Convert that. So 1,000 ml sa baba, 1 liter sa taas. Nasa baba si ml, so we can cancel the unit. Ayan. Show the cancellation, especially if it is problem set. By the way, yung deadline ng problem sets, hindi pa naman ipopost, pero in case na ipost ko na, iuurong ko siya kasi parang onti pa lang yung may libro ngayon. Which is understandable. Okay? Pindutin sa calcu. Okay, 0. Sorry. 0.54 95 to 11 25 divided by 1,000. Okay. 1285. Ang dami ding magnesium sa salt water kaya ang alat eh. Mass yan, so pwedeng 4 decimal places na lang, okay? 1285. Okay, so ganun lang ka-easy. Dali-dali na. Next one, we will try this. Yan. Number 3 is very tricky. Kaya ililipat ko siya ng much bigger workspace. Okay? So, lilipat ko lang to sa ating blackboard. Whiteboard. By the way, screenshot nyo na kung gusto nyo. Pero i-upload ko naman to sa weekends. Ayan. Let's try number 3. Again, yung molality, we will skip that. Pinatanggal ko siya this year kasi hindi naman natin gagamitin yan. So, no problem. Just the molarity lang. Pasensya na, pangit yung font talaga dito. Hindi siya nagagandahan eh. Anyway. Okay. So, this is our question. Find the molarity of 37% by weight hydrochloric acid. The density of a substance is the mass per unit volume. The density of the reagent is 1.19 grams per ml. So, ano yung given? Percent weight. Ano yung hinahanap? Molarity. Pwede ba yon? Pwede. Kasi pag may problem, may solution. Okay. Kaso, ang dami nga lang steps. Okay? If you are converting percent mass or percent weight to other concentration units such as molarity, you have to do some assumptions. Mag-a-assume ka. Okay? So, lagi niyong tatandaan yon. If you are going to convert percent mass or percent weight and percent volume into other units, you will make assumptions. Mag-a-assume ka. Okay? So, now, I want you to focus first in the given concentration unit, which is 37% weight. So what does that mean? Okay. So basically, the 37 gawin kong blue yung aking ballpen. Okay? So basically, yung 37% weight, okay, percent weight HCl, it means that yung solution mo, 37% HCl, the other 63% is water. Okay? Ayan. So, yun. So, anong i-assume natin dito? Let us assume that we have 100 grams solution. Okay? Always yan. Okay? Assume we have 100 grams solution. Kapag percent volume yan, ang i-assume nyo, 100 ml solution. Okay? Bakit po kaya 100? Pwede ba 50? Pwede po ba 3.14? Pwede naman. Pero, the thing with 100 is kasi, kung ano na yung percent mo, tapos i-multiply mo siya sa 100, edi yun na rin yun. Okay? So, what's the 37% of 100? Edi 37, di ba? So, yun yung reason why I want you to assume 100 gram solution. Okay? By assuming 100 gram solution, ibig sabihin you have 37 grams HCl and the other 63 grams is water. Pag hindi sinabi yung solvent, water lang yan. Okay, so yun yung unang gagawin. Whenever you see percent weight, percent volume, ang tanong is to convert it into other concentration unit. Always assume 100 grams or 100 ml solution. So that whatever the percent concentration is, yun na yung kanyang mass. Yun na yung mass ng solute mo. Okay? And because we have the mass of the solute, this is the mass of the solute already, we can get the mole of the solute. Okay? Di ba kailangan mo ng mole solute sa molarity? So, meron na tayong source of the mass of the solute. Okay? So, ganun lang. Na? Now, let me just rewrite. Na? Mass solute, molar mass solute, volume of the solution in liters. Okay? So we have mass solute already coming from 37% HCl. We assumed na 100 grams yon kunwari. So we have mass solute, which is 37. For the molar mass of the solute, we can Google that. Hindi ko kabisado. So what's the molar mass of HCl? 36485. 36485. Okay, so sabi sa Google, 36485. Okay, molar mass. Dito na lang, molar mass, HCl, 36485 grams per mole. Meron na tayo agad na dalawa, no? We have the M solute, the MM solute, molar mass solute. Now, ano kaya? Now, how will you find the volume of the solution? Paano kaya yun? Anyone in the class? Do you have any idea on how to get the volume of the solution? Read the problem. Ay, Ayan na, may sagot na kayo. It's density. Yes, tama yon. Kasi, when I use density, which is mass, over volume. Okay, teka lang. Okay, so anyway. Kasi, ayun. When we use density, It is the ratio of the mass and the volume given na yung density of the solution. Pag sinabi reagent, it is just the solution. Fancy word for solution, okay? So using the density, asan yung mouse ko? Ayan. So density, that's density, mass over volume. Given na yung density, right? Given na yung mass, 37 grams. Volume, pwede natin ma-solve. Sorry, yung mass pala ng solution to, no? Sorry. Density of the solution. So this is the density of solution, mass solution, volume of the solution. Okay? So ganun lang. Okay? Solving for the volume of the solution, we can rewrite the equation as the volume of the solution equals to cross multiply. So mass solution divided by the density of the solution. Okay? Ayun. V equals M over D. Tama. Okay? Yeah, very good. What's the mass of the solution again? The mass of the solution is, again, solution. 37, 100 grams. Okay? Mag-ingat kasi ako rin, minsan naduduling eh. Iba yung solution sa HCl ha. Okay. Yung inassume mo na mass, yun na yung mass ng solution mo. In our case, 100. Ba't ka nag-assume ng 100 mass? Para mas madali yung calculation. For the density, it's already given 1.19 grams per ml. Okay? Yan. Should I solve for this separately? Actually, pwede mo na i-plug in yan doon. The reason I want you to plug in as many equations as possible is that kasi when we solve for them separately, nagra-round off tayo eh. And if you continually do rounding off, pag round off ka lang ng round off, medyo lumalayo na yung final answer natin. Okay? So that's why I will ask you to incorporate the volume of the solution equation into the molarity. Okay? So I want you to incorporate this dito sa ating equation. So mass solute, molar mass solute. And then for the volume of the solution, this is the equation. So mass solution, density of the solution, and then since this is in ml, take note it is in ml, making ml yung unit niyan eh. You need to convert it into liters, okay? So ito, dito yung 1,000 ml sa baba, liters sa taas. Always nasa taas yung liters, okay? So again, the reason why I want you to plug in as many equations as possible na is that para hindi tayo nag-round off. Because if we continually do rounding off, sayang yung ating mga figures. Okay, let's plug in the numbers. The mass of the solute is 37 grams. The molar mass of the solute is 36,485. Okay. This thing here, yun yung pang volume ng solution natin. So, the mass of the solution is 100 grams divided by 1.19 grams. Okay? And then you need to convert that kasi ml yan into liters. So, divide by 1,000 lang. Okay? Kakalcu ko to. So, calcu. Yan. Calcu. Ayan na lang. Calcu tayo. Sabay-sabay na pipindot. Type natin tong equation na to. So, numerator, 37. Denominator, marami. 36,485. Parenthesis. Fraction, 100. 1.19. Then, another fraction. Multiply mo lang. 1 over 1,000. Close parenthesis. The answer is Surprisingly, 12. No? May ganyan bang molarity, sir? Meron. Okay. And that is the highest concentration of HCl in the solution, the 37% by weight. Ito yung highest concentration ng ating hydrochloric acid. Okay? So that's 12 point, apat na decimal places. 12,0680. Okay. Mole per liter. Yan. Okay, bakit naging 12,0680? Kasi ito, 7,9, tas yung katabi ni 9 is 7. So, you need to round it off. Magiging 80 siya. Okay, galing na. Baka isipin yun, anong magaling? Nakaka-stress kaya? Kaya bahala. Yan, pero ganun lang na. Ang pinaka-idea lang dito is pwede ka maging asyumero. Pwede ka maging asyumero, asyumera. Okay lang yon. Especially if you are converting concentration into something else like molarity. Okay, allowed yon. Ganun lang. Okay. So, since we don't have any time left, okay lang naman sa atin. Huwag tayo magmadali. Kasi pag di nyo ito nasundan, mahirap. Okay. Basically, marami pa tayong worksheet sa mga susunod na meeting. Flare session next week. So, sana umattend kayo sa flare session ko. Yun lang. Anyway. Now, I will post this worksheet in Canvas. And hopefully, magsagot kayo. Hindi naman siya required. Tandaan yung worksheet is just for exercises during class. Pero, hindi siya recorded. Pero I hope na every time we answer questions from the worksheet, you learn something. And I'm hungry, so I guess we can call this a day na. Okay? So we will continue this next time. We see each other. But for now, that's everything. Okay, kasi ako ay nagugutom na. Any questions in mind? Or kaya naman? Kaya pa, no? Okay, so wala naman nagchat sa ating chat box. Okay, so anyway. Ngayon pa lang kaya. Sana ganyan din po sa quiz. So, ganito din sa quiz. Alam nyo naman ako yung isa sa mga greatest scammer. May ganyan sa quiz, tas yung ganito ang lala na. Alam na yun ng mga student ko dati. Anyway, nakasurvive naman kayo, no? Nakasurvive naman kayo, kaya okay lang. So, kung nakasurvive dati, bisa nakasurvive din ngayon. Ganun lang yun, okay? So, ayan. Leave. Wala na siya. Okay. So again, yung mga backlogs ko, no, when it comes to exercises, mga responses ko, pasensya na. Medyo ako ay naghahabol ng malapit na kasi finals namin sa Lazal, kaya yan, Lozol. Kaya kailangan ko talaga mag-aral. Okay. Bonus quiz. Meron naman bonus quiz, don't worry. Yung bonus quiz mas mahirap. Joke. Nagipit eh. Ayun, nakalimutan ko pala sagutan to. Anyway, you can read the PowerPoint naman in advance so that yung next meeting natin, mas mabilis na tayo, ha? Okay. So for now, that's it. Thank you for attending our synchronous session. And I will see you again next time because next week is flare session. Kapag flare, you have to attend alternative classes, no? And I will also conduct alternative class. Anong book po uli yung kailangan yung yung Introduction to Analytical Chem by Skug, okay? And kay Skug. Okay, see you next week kasi next week is FEU anniversary, maraming gagawin. So, see you next time. Bye-bye. Enjoy and ingat always. Bye-bye.